Hey guys, welcome back to Invest Mindset. A few days ago, I was reading a report from 2020 prepared by a well-known investment banking firm. The report revealed something shocking. The bottom 50% of people in the world own only about 1.2% of global wealth. The bottom 85% together own just 15% of wealth. Meanwhile, the top 15% of people control almost 85% of the world's money. This may sound extreme, but it's not new. Over a century ago, an Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto observed that in his country, the top 20% owned 80% of the wealth, while the bottom 80% had only 20%. This became famous as the Pareto Principle or the 80-20 rule. But today, things have gotten even more extreme. It's more like 85-15. This kind of unequal wealth distribution is also called the power law of distribution. What it means is that when someone puts in even a little more effort than others, the rewards they receive are disproportionately large. And that's why some people keep getting richer and richer, not because they worked 100x harder, but because they worked just a little smarter or took opportunities others didn't. The truth is, life isn't fair, and rewards aren't distributed fairly either. But here's the good part: you can either be sad about it, or you can use this knowledge to your advantage. One of the biggest reasons is the power of compounding. I've talked about this many times before, but as motivational speaker Jim Rohn once said, if all the money in the world were distributed equally among everyone, in just a few years, it would end up back in the same hands. That's because it's not just about starting point or luck, it's about habits, mindset, and how you manage money over time. Here's something most people don't think about. Life expectancy affects wealth creation. For example, in Africa, the average life expectancy is only 64 years. In the US, it's around 76 years. In Europe, it's closer to 80 years. That extra 10 to 15 years makes a huge difference. Take Warren Buffett as an example. He's in his 90s. Still working with the same energy as someone in their 30s because he lived a long, healthy, and productive life. His knowledge, reputation, and investments kept compounding. Today, he manages over $130 billion in net worth. On the other hand, in regions with low life expectancy, many people never get the chance to see their wealth compound over decades. That's one reason why rich countries get richer. Their successful people live longer, create more wealth, and then reinvest back into society through donations, businesses, and education. Middle-class families often face a very different reality. If the breadwinner falls sick in his 40s or 50s, the whole family may struggle just to afford education for the next generation. Meanwhile, rich families can afford to send their children and even grandchildren to the best schools, setting them up for even greater success. That's why one of the first rules of wealth creation is the longer and healthier your life, the more wealth you can build for yourself, your family, and even your country. Let's talk about Elon Musk. Currently one of the richest people in the world, worth over $200 billion. Surprisingly, his official salary is just $1 per year. Why? Because salary is taxed heavily as income. Instead, Musk is compensated mostly in company stock options, which only become valuable years later. This makes him a long-term investor in his own companies by default. But here's the genius part. When he needs money for personal expenses, he doesn't sell his shares. Instead, he takes loans against his stock holdings. Selling stock equals pay 40 to 50% in taxes. Taking a loan equals maybe 4 to 5% interest, while his companies are growing at 15 to 20%. This way, he avoids income tax, keeps his ownership, and still gets access to cash. That's why the rich focus on building wealth, not income. Income pays bills, but wealth builds empires. Here's another hidden trap. Inflation. Suppose someone saves $100,000 in the bank at 6% interest. In a year, they earn $6,000 and feel great. But if inflation is also 6%, their money buys exactly the same as before. In reality, they gain nothing. So where did that $6,000 go? It effectively shifted to business owners and investors because they can simply raise prices on their products while keeping their profits. That's why inflation acts like a hidden tax transferring wealth from savers to investors. Middle-class people often keep cash or low-return investments, while the wealthy invest in assets like stocks and real estate that grow faster than inflation. That's another reason why the rich keep pulling ahead. Asterisk, most wealthy people didn't become rich overnight. They often spent 10 years or more building their businesses, investments, or real estate portfolios. Meanwhile, the majority of people want quick returns. This short-term mindset is dangerous. Imagine being offered a CEO role in a startup where instead of a salary, you're given stock options that could be worth millions in 5 years. Most people would reject it because they can't wait that long. That's why monthly salary is one of the strongest addictions in the world. It keeps people locked in short-term thinking. On the other hand, the wealthy stay invested, let compounding work its magic, and keep multiplying their wealth while others chase small, safe returns. At the end of the day, the world is divided into two groups. One group says the rich are greedy and should pay more taxes. The other group says the rich took risks, made sacrifices, and earned their wealth, so they deserve their lifestyle. Who's right? That's up for debate. But here's the truth: you can either complain about life being unfair, or you can learn the rules of the game and play to win. Wealth is not about working harder, it's about thinking longer, smarter, and letting compounding do its work. If you found value in this, make sure to share it with your friends and family because real financial education is rarely taught in schools.